Alright guys, what's going on? It's Jack and welcome back to another video. And in this one I want to talk about Blackout. I want to talk about Blackout 2.0 and why I strongly believe, and it makes all the sense in the world to me, that we are going to get a Blackout 2.0 or an updated version of Blackout, and that it's also going to be free to play, which is something that never really happened and never really came to fruition with Blackout in Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I guess Activision wasn't ready to pull the trigger on free-to-play just yet. And thankfully, thanks to Modern Warfare, out of all the things that Modern Warfare could have done, they did do one thing right, whether you like it or not, and that is making Warzone free-to-play. And I guess that was the formula from the get-go, but at the same time, you know, even though the multiplayer itself, to a lot of people, including the pros themselves, may have not been a success or may have not really been that good, so to speak, or up to par with some of the other Call of Duties out there, because there were a whole bunch of design decisions that just basically, you know, screwed things up, I guess, from both a pub's standpoint as well as a competitive standpoint. At least they got Warzone right, according to a lot of the community. I mean, pretty much a lot of, I don't know if this is bullshit or not, because I really don't watch, you know, Warzone gameplay channels. I just go back and forth and just watch a few videos here and there just to kind of take a look or whatnot, because I like to be kept in the loop to a certain extent and in the buzz in terms of what's popular, what's not, what's cool, what's not, where the community is looking at and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not a Warzone player, I'm not a BR player, but like I said in previous videos, even in my last video, I greatly respect the genre, because realistically speaking, it's kept, not just because of its success since Fortnite and all that stuff, but also because it's keeping Call of Duty alive, because the multiplayer itself, not so much. But Warzone pretty much is keeping people playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and it's got even more people playing the multiplayer, and in theory that should at least translate into the next game, into Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. It should really translate. So if they make the next iteration of the Battle Royale, which is Blackout, and it makes all the sense in the world too, because Infinity Ward's thing is Warzone and Blackout is Treyarch's thing. So I personally think what they're going to do is, obviously there's been word back and forth that they're basically going to upgrade the Infinity Ward engine and what they did with Modern Warfare, and they're gonna I guess Treyarch is gonna inject some of their DNA into the thing. So it would make sense that if they're going to do that, they're also going to do that with Blackout. They could upgrade the map, which is something that was even talked about when the game itself, when Blackout itself was announced. So it would make sense to upgrade the map, maybe throw in a few elements from Warzone into there. Now, I know that Treyarch is not very big into taking ideas from other games, other Call of Duty games, from the other developers and putting that into their game, but they could at least give some sort of version of that, and they can upgrade some sort of gameplay elements that they never really got to do with Blackout, or fulfill some people's wishes, like some people's players that wanted something from Blackout from a gameplay standpoint that just never really existed, or wanted it to exist and it just never really made it into the game. And let's not mention the fact that when I played a little bit of Blackout, there were a lot of inconsistencies with the connection and the hit detection and the ping and all that kind of stuff. This is also a chance for them to work on that, so that way you could have even more consistencies with Blackout. Because whenever I look at Warzone, whenever I watch videos here and there about that, so I can be informed and all that kind of stuff, it is pretty damn smooth in comparison to Blackout. Now, part of the reason for that could be because of the amount of players that were playing, and because it's basically crossplay, and you can have players regardless of system and platform that they play on. They could all play together. I mean, there's over 60 million people playing it, so because it's free to play as well. So if you want those kind of numbers, you got to make it free to play. And I think it's time that Blackout 2.0, as I'm going to call it from now on, I think it's about time that it should be free to play. Now, because they don't want to divide the player base, they're not going to do that with Blackout 1.0. They're not going to do that with the original Blackout. They're going to do it for 2.0 and above. So they don't want to divide the player base in any way, shape, or form. They want to keep everybody within the same pool as much as possible. So what I think is going to happen is that I seriously doubt that Treyarch is just going to take over Warzone. I seriously doubt it. That's Infinity Ward's baby. Blackout is Treyarch's baby. So for them to give their own version of a Battle Royale makes all the sense in the world, because you want to keep things fresh as much as possible, because you got to give players an incentive to come back and play. So if players are going to come back and play Blackout from Warzone, they better have a good reason to do that. And it is Treyarch's baby, and again, they don't want to divide the player base. They want to keep as many players within the new game as much as possible. So I can almost guarantee you, just with that theory alone, and you guys know how Activision likes to operate, as well as how corporate interest and and video games operate, so to speak, right? It would be no surprise for this to happen. So they want everybody, as many people as possible, to play the new game and every aspect of it. So if you don't like multiplayer, you at least have option B. And that's another reason right there, is because we need a good option B, because as we know, there's a bunch of rumors, there's a bunch of things going on. We don't know in terms of official confirmation. We don't know jack shit in terms of what we're going to be offered, other than what the leaks and the rumors have told us. But in terms of official from Treyarch or Infinity Ward and all that kind of stuff, the only thing we know is that we are getting a new game this year in 2020. That's all we know. Beyond that, it's all leaks, rumors, and speculation. And we're trying to make the most out of it because we've been blue-balled for so long. And the thing is, if these leaks and rumors are true, and as a matter of fact, before I started recording this video, there was pre-alpha gameplay that was released, and I did see about a minute and a half of it or whatnot. So, I mean, it really didn't say much. So, not really worth mentioning all that much until more stuff comes out. And I'm sure as the days continue to progress, there's going to be even more stuff that's coming out, leaked, and all that kind of stuff, which I will be covering because I'm just as curious and interested as you guys are. So, but the thing is that you need a backup. So if everything that's been leaked and rumored is to be true, and if the game is going to play like a Modern Warfare 2.0 with safe spaces and doors, but just with a Treyarch spin on it, then, you know, for the people that are into BR, unfortunately I'm not one of them, but for the people that are into BR, at least they have a backup. And as of right now, it's pretty safe to assume that most of the players that are playing the Modern Warfare game are playing Warzone. I mean, and part of the reason is because it's free to play. The power of free to play is so strong, and Activision is like the shark at this point. They've smelled blood in the water ever since making Warzone free to play, and they've been on a fucking feeding frenzy, and they want to continue that feeding frenzy because they want to continue to make success. And if they were to not make the new Blackout free to play, they'd be shooting themselves in the foot, especially since they've already achieved a level of success with that formula. So it's like, hey, why not repeat it? You want more success? Repeat it. And at the same time, you gotta give players a reason to come back and to play Blackout. So what do? You upgrade it, you make it smoother, you give us a fresh new map maybe, you give us, of course, maybe a few new gameplay elements here and there. Give players a reason to play Blackout. Because right now, from what I've seen, from all the videos I've seen, and from all the talk about Warzone, players prefer Warzone to Blackout. They think Warzone is a better BR than Blackout. Again, I don't have a say in this because I don't know BR that well. You know, all I could say is that from everything that I've tried, Blackout is much simpler, and Warzone is a little bit more in depth in terms of the things you can do and everything like that. But at the same time, you look at Warzone, it's smoother than Blackout. It plays smoother. So again, there's just so many different things that go into that. So, but long story short, you got to give the players a reason to come back and play your version of the Battle Royale. Because if you're just going to give them the same old shit, or even just announce that it's going to be free to play, let me tell you something. People have already had their year with Blackout, or more. And a lot of people are in their second year. For the people that are not playing Warzone, or for the people that just don't like Warzone for whatever reason, that play BRs or whatever, and they just prefer Blackout to Warzone. Just announcing the same old Blackout to be free to play isn't going to be enough. You've got to give players a reason to play. Just the same old reason that you got to give players a reason to play your new iteration of the Call of Duty multiplayer. So you have to have something to offer, because if giving them the exact same thing, and I mean the exact same thing, if you were to just basically give people, you know, if you were going to release the same Call of Duty over and over again, even if that Call of Duty is Black Ops 1, if you were to re-release Black Ops 1 every fucking year and not do anything new with it, or just not, you know, or just release the same old thing, guess what? You're not going to have the same level of success year after year if we keep on repeating that, simply because of the fact that we've been there before, we've done that before, and we're always going to want something new, whether it's new maps, new guns, a slightly different feeling to the formula that is Call of Duty when we get the controller in our hands. Because even though Call of Duty, when you look at the basics of it, it is very much the same thing year after year, but it's the different feeling of every single Call of Duty iteration and the little things that they develop in that game, which is the maps and everything in between. The maps, the guns, the time to kill, the score streaks, the spawns, different game modes that they might come out with. Those are the things that separate one Call of Duty from the next. That it's basically an upgrade. So Blackout has to be upgraded, and I strongly strongly believe, even though I'm not a BR player, I strongly believe, and to me it makes all the sense in the world, that Blackout will get upgraded and it will be released and it will be free to play for the community. And I think it's gonna, I think because of how Activision does things, and as well as the fact that Blackout overall was a success, and it would have been a hell of a lot more successful if it was free to play when Black Ops 4 came out, or sometime after Black Ops 4 came out. I think it's going to do even better than Warzone. And then what's going to happen the year after that is Infinity Ward's going to come back again, and Warzone is going to be upgraded even more because they have to have a reason to come back to play that. Granted, there's going to be players that will stick with Warzone or Blackout or go back and forth between them as well. But the thing is, you're gonna have to attract new players and at the same time keep those older players invested by giving them something new. And that's how basic business works, man. That's how it all works. But anyway, guys, that's all I got for this one. This is what I believe, and I've gone through every single reason as to why I believe it. And that's what I wanted to talk about in this video, because I know a lot of you guys are BR players, even though there's a bunch of you that are multiplayer guys, but there are a lot of you also that are BR players. So and if it happens like this and it gets released free to play, which I strongly believe it will, it's going to be a successful year for Call of Duty. So let's hope the multiplayer is up to par. And that's all I got for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay and the commentary. Let all thoughts be known down in the comment section. And this is Jack, signing off.